Libraries and institutions have now been dealing with more than 2 years of supporting remote and hybrid learning, and 2 years of dealing with classes switching back and forth from in-person to remote, sometimes with only a day's notice. Regardless of what happens next, I think it's safe to say that there are many things that will never go back to the way they were before. Faculty and students have different requirements and different expectations of the library than they did before the pandemic. As a result, many libraries are taking the opportunity to think very strategically about the best ways to provide access to course materials moving forward. For many years, libraries have relied on print course reserves as a way to provide affordable and equitable access to course materials. And while you've probably shifted some, or maybe all of your collection development to focus on electronic resources, there's still a question about how to provide digital access to resources which are out of print or not available electronically. I'm going to show you how you can use the Ex Libris platform, specifically Leganto, Alma, and Alma Digital, to manage the full lifecycle of a digital course reserves program using controlled digital lending. In order to provide access to digitized course reserves, you need to first understand which resources faculty are using in their courses. This includes all of the relevant details. Are they using the full book or only a chapter? Is it required reading or optional reading? How many students are in the course? Is it used in multiple courses? From there, you can determine which resources are candidates for a controlled digital lending service. Do you have the item in your collection? Is it already available electronically? If not, is it something you can buy electronically? Once you decide that something should be digitized, you need to initiate that process and actually perform the digitization work. As part of that work, you'll also need to assign the access rights that let you control that print-like lending, which includes the number of digital copies that you have, which will replace your print copies, how long students will be able to check the resource out for, and whether or not you want to provide a wait list for your students. Generally, you would make these decisions once as part of your CDL program. Once you do the work to scan the item and assign the access rights, of course you want to make sure that students know that this resource, which is required for their course, is available from the library and that they're able to access it. You can handle this full life cycle and provide an excellent service to your faculty and students using Leganto and Alma Digital. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm acting as a professor teaching an Introduction to Philosophy course. Here inside my course in the Learning Management System, I have a link to the course materials. This will open the list of all the materials I'm using for my course, including books, articles, videos, websites, uploaded files, and more. I have my list broken down into sections, and I've included tags to help my students understand which items are required and which are recommended. This is Leganto, the course materials solution from Ex Libris. Now I want to add a new book to my list. I can search the library collection directly from inside the Learning Management System. I'll tag this so my students know it's essential reading and send the list to the library to review. Behind the scenes, the library receives a notification that the professor is using this resource in her course. The library can see all the details about how this item is used in the course, including the course, the number of students, and the essential tag. The library can also see that we have a physical copy available. Once the library determines that this item is a candidate for controlled digital lending, the staff user can place a digitization request. Technically, you can also allow your teaching faculty to place digitization requests as well. Alma will now route this item through a digitization workflow, which includes pulling the item from the shelf, routing it to the department or desk which will perform the digitization, and potentially initiating a copyright approval workflow. Alma has routed this item through a specific digitization workflow that we have configured for CDL resources, which ends with me uploading the digital inventory using a specific access rights policy. The access rights control how many users can use this item at a time, how long they can use it for, and whether or not you want to provide waitlist functionality. You can also see that in this case, we also have the item marked as inactive, meaning it is suppressed from discovery and will only be available for students enrolled in the course. You can also add a copyright statement, which users will view before they can access the resource. Now that we have finished scanning the resource, we can move the physical item to a closed location, taking the physical copy out of circulation. If we look at the citation one more time, we can see that the digitization process is complete. There is now digital inventory. The physical copy has been moved to a suppressed location, and the copyright has been approved. I'll mark the citation as complete. Students will automatically and immediately be able to view and access the digital inventory from their course in the learning management system. With Leganto, the library inventory is always added automatically for course materials. Students don't need to know that they should check to see if their library has something. Instead, the student simply starts in their course and can view and access all course materials from here. I can click on the View Online link and access the resource. Here's the copyright statement configured by the library. And now I can read the book for my course. I don't have the option to download the resource, and my access will expire after a configured amount of time. If you configure waitlist management, students will see the option to join the waitlist if the digital copy is currently checked out. The student will get an email letting them know when it's their turn. The library can configure details related to the waitlist, which may include how long the student has to access the item once they get the notification, and open hours so the student doesn't have their turn pop up in the middle of the night. At the end of the term, Alma can automatically handle the cleanup workflow. This might include initiating the process to move the physical item back to the permanent stacks and making the link to access the digital item no longer available. The library can also run reports on the usage of course materials provided through controlled digital lending, as well as the usage of all other materials used in courses. You can see how Leganto, combined with controlled digital lending access rights managed by Alma Digital, makes it possible for the library to provide seamless digital access to print course reserves items, including getting the information from teaching faculty, managing the digitization process and access rights, and then providing the resource to students as part of their course.